She used to post everything: her meals, her outfits, her weekends, her wins. Her carefully curated life served up daily to an audience that liked and commented and scrolled on and never once asked how she was actually doing. And then one day she stopped. No announcement, no farewell post, no explanation. She just went quiet. And while everyone wondered what had happened to her, while the comments asking where she had gone went unanswered, while her friends checked in once and then twice, and then eventually stopped checking entirely, she was doing something in the silence that nobody around her had seen coming. She was building, not performing a build, not documenting a build, not sharing the journey for engagement, actually building. And when she came back 3 years later, nobody could quite believe what the silence had produced. This is Maya's story, and what she discovered in the quiet will make you think very differently about what you are showing the world and what you are actually building for yourself. If this is already speaking to something in you, share this with someone who needs permission to go quiet right now. Drop a comment below and tell me where you are watching from. I read every single one. Stay with me. This one is important. Maya was 27 years old and she had 4,000 followers and absolutely nothing to show for it. Not in the way that actually mattered. She had the photographs, she had the carefully worded captions, she had the weekend brunches with Zara and Lisa and the outfit posts and the motivational quotes typed over sunsets and the travel pictures from the one trip she had saved 6 months to take and stretched across 17 posts to make it look like a lifestyle rather than a single, carefully budgeted week. She had the performance of a life. What she did not have was the life itself. Her savings account had not moved in 3 years of working. The number sat there month after month with the particular stubbornness of a thing that has never been properly tended. She earned enough, more than enough by most measures, but the money came in and it went out, and the gap between the two had never once been something she paid serious attention to. Her career had not progressed beyond the entry-level position she had started in at 24. She had been passed over for one promotion and had told herself and told Zara and had posted about resilience and growth mindset while sitting with the particular hurt of someone who has been measured and found wanting by people whose opinion of them mattered more than it should have. Her apartment was rented, the lease was up for renewal, and the thought of signing another year felt like signing a confession that nothing had changed, and nothing had changed. She was performing a life that was not growing, and the performance was the reason. Because here is what performing your life costs you that nobody ever talks about in the motivational posts and the highlight reels and the carefully constructed narratives of people doing well. It costs you the time you could have spent building it. Every hour spent crafting the perfect post is an hour not spent building the thing worth posting about. Every evening spent scrolling through other people's performances is an evening not spent working on your own reality. Every unit of creative energy poured into making your life look good online is a unit of creative energy not available for making your life actually good. Maya had been pouring everything into the performance for 3 years. The performance had produced exactly what performances always produce: applause that disappears the moment the curtain comes down. She understood this completely on a Sunday evening sitting in her apartment when a notification arrived telling her that her latest post had reached its best engagement yet. 2,000 likes, hundreds of comments, her best performing post in 3 years. She put the phone down on the sofa beside her and stared at the ceiling and felt absolutely nothing, not happiness, not satisfaction, not the validation she had been unconsciously chasing for 3 years, nothing. And in the nothing, for the first time in a very long time, she heard something true. This is not working, not the post, the life. The life was not working, and the performance was the reason she had not noticed until now. Maya did not go quiet dramatically. She did not write a post announcing a social media detox. She did not gather her friends and explain what she was doing and why. She did not create a narrative around her departure that would earn her engagement in the very act of leaving. She simply stopped. On a Monday morning, she put her phone in the kitchen drawer, face down, and went to work. She came home that evening and did not take it out. The first week was uncomfortable in the specific way that all withdrawals are uncomfortable. Her hand reached for the phone at least 40 times across the first 3 days out of pure habit, finding nothing where the habit expected something to be. She felt the phantom buzz of notifications that were not there. She noticed the silence of the drawer with a frequency that surprised her, but she did not take the phone out. On the 4th day, something small but significant happened. She sat at her kitchen table after dinner with a cup of tea and nothing to look at and nothing to perform and nothing to consume. And for the first time she could not remember how long she simply sat. And in the sitting, she noticed something. She had been tired for a very long time. Not the tired of hard work, the tired of maintenance, the constant low-grade exhaustion of managing a performance, the energy it took every single day to curate and caption and respond and engage and monitor and compare and adjust and perform again tomorrow. She had not known how tired she was until the performance stopped. It is the way you do not know how heavy a bag is until you put it down. She put the bag down on a Monday morning. And on the Saturday of that same week, she did something she had not done in 3 years. She opened a notebook and wrote at the top of the first page 3 words. What is real? Not what looked real, not what performed real, what actually was. She wrote down her salary, her monthly expenses, her savings, her debt, her assets, everything that was actually true about her financial life, stripped of every performance and every justification and every story she had been telling herself about why the numbers were what they were. The page was honest in a way that her social media had never been, and the honest page was the beginning of everything. The honest page changed things, not overnight, not dramatically, but the way truth always changes things when it is finally allowed into a room that has been full of performance for too long, slowly, completely, without the possibility of going back to not knowing. Maya looked at her financial numbers for an entire weekend, not obsessively, not with panic, but with the steady attention of someone who has decided that looking away is no longer an option. What she saw was not catastrophic. It was something quieter and in some ways more uncomfortable than catastrophe. It was ordinary, ordinary in the particular way of a life that has been drifting without direction for 3 years, not falling, just not moving, spending what arrived and beginning again each month from approximately the same place. She was earning well, not extravagantly, but well, more than enough to have built something real in 3 years. And she had built nothing, not because the income was insufficient, because the attention had been elsewhere. She thought about where the attention had been. The brunch spots that photographed beautifully and cost more than a week of groceries. The clothes bought not because she needed them, but because the post needed them. The experiences chosen not because she wanted them, but because they would perform well. The subscriptions and the products and the things purchased in the small hours of the night while scrolling through other people's curated lives and feeling the particular hunger that consumption produces, the hunger that grows rather than diminishes the more it is fed. She added it up. The number was significant, not the number itself, what it represented. 3 years of spending in the direction of a performance, rather than in the direction of a life. She put the pen down and sat with that for a long time. Then she called her mother, not to tell her everything, just to hear her voice. Because sometimes when you are sitting with something enormous, the only thing that helps is the voice of someone who has known you longer than the performance has existed. Her mother answered on the second ring the way she always did and said hello the way she always said it, and Maya said, "I am okay." And her mother said, "I know." And they talked about nothing important for 20 minutes, and Maya felt something loosen in her chest that she had not known was tight. After the call, she made a decision. She would not go back to the way things were. Not because the performance had been terrible, but because the life on the other side of it was starting to look like something worth building, and she could not build it and perform it at the same time. You cannot build in 2 directions simultaneously. She picked one direction, and it was not the camera. Maya built in 3 directions simultaneously, not the performance directions, the real ones. The first direction was her financial life. She divided her income with the deliberate intention of someone who has decided that every coin has a destination before it arrives. 70% for living, genuinely and well, not performing living, but actually living with the things that made her feel genuinely alive. 20% for building, split equally between clearing her small debt, growing her cash reserve, and beginning to invest in something that would work for her while she worked for herself. 10% for giving, because she had learned from watching her mother that generosity practiced consistently does something to the soul of the giver that no amount of performed generosity on a caption ever could. The numbers were not magic. The system was not complicated. It was simply an intention applied consistently every single month and never negotiated away for something that would photograph better. The second direction was her career. In the silence without the performance consuming her creative energy, Maya discovered that she had more of it than she had known. She asked for a meeting with her manager, and instead of asking about the promotion she had not received, she asked what she needed to develop to be worth promoting. The answer was specific. She worked on every item on the list, quietly, consistently, without posting about it. 8 months later, she was promoted. She did not post about it. The third direction was the idea she had been carrying for 2 years without ever acting on it, because the acting on it would have required the kind of focused, unglamorous work that does not perform well, and she had been too invested in performance to do work that would not be seen. She was good at something, genuinely, specifically good at it. Not Instagram good, actually good. The kind of good that comes from years of natural ability combined with focused practice. She began offering it quietly to people who needed it. One client, then another. Word of mouth moving in the particular organic way that genuine quality always moves, slowly at first and then faster than you expected. By the end of the first year, the side income was real, not enough to change everything, but enough to prove that the thing she was building was real, and real was all she needed it to be for now. She had a mentor by this point, a woman named Anne, who she had met through the kind of quiet networking that happens when you stop performing your life and start actually living it. Anne was 50 years old and had built 3 things of her own and lost one of them and rebuilt from the loss, and had the particular settled energy of someone who has been through the fire and understands that the fire was part of the building. Anne told her something one afternoon that Maya wrote in her notebook and kept. She said the most dangerous thing about social media is not the time it takes, it is the false sense of progress it creates. You post something good and you feel like you did something, but you did not do anything. You performed doing something, and the feeling of progress from the performance is enough to satisfy the part of you that would otherwise go and do the actual thing. So you perform instead of build, and you wonder why nothing is growing. Maya had been performing instead of building for 3 years. She was building now, and the difference was visible in everything except the places where she used to show it. Three years is a long time when you are building something in the quiet. It is also a very short time when you look back at what the building produced. Maya's debt was gone by the end of the first year. Not managed. Gone. The particular lightness of a financial obligation that has been eliminated rather than maintained is something she had not anticipated and could not have described to someone who had not felt it. She had been carrying that debt so casually for so long that its absence felt like finding a room in her life she did not know was there. Her cash reserve was solid by the middle of the second year. 6 months of her life, covered, fully funded, sitting quietly in an account that she did not touch and did not need to touch, but whose existence changed the quality of every decision she made from the moment it was complete. She had not understood before what financial security actually felt like from the inside. She understood now. It felt like being able to breathe in a way she had not breathed since she started working. Her investments were growing in the particular quiet way that consistent long-term investments grow, without drama and without announcement, compounding steadily in the background of a life that was busy with other things. She checked them quarterly rather than obsessively. She had learned from Anne that the investor who checks their investments daily is fighting their own instincts every single day. The investor who checks quarterly is building a relationship with time rather than anxiety. Her small business had grown from 1 client to 11 people who had found her through word of mouth and genuine quality and the particular credibility of someone who does not perform their expertise but simply demonstrates it. She had not run a single advertisement. She had not launched a single social media campaign. She had simply done excellent work consistently and let the work speak in the only language that actually produces lasting clients. Results. By the 3rd year, the business income had overtaken her salary. She handed in her notice on a Thursday afternoon in October. Her manager asked if there was anything they could do to change her mind. Maya said, "No, thank you," with complete warmth and complete certainty. She had not arrived at this moment impulsively. She had been building toward it for 3 years. She went home and Zara and Lisa were waiting at her apartment. Zara had brought wine. Lisa had brought food. They had heard through the quiet network of people who actually know each other, rather than perform knowing each other. Maya sat at her kitchen table with her 2 oldest friends, and they talked for 3 hours about real things, rather than performed things. And Maya thought about how long it had been since a conversation had felt this genuinely nourishing. At the end of the evening, Zara looked at her across the table and said something that Maya did not expect. She said, "I have been watching you for 3 years, and I did not understand what you were doing. And now I do. And I want to do it too. Will you help me?" Maya looked at her friend and said yes. Maya did not become successful because she was louder than everyone else. She became successful because she went quiet long enough to hear herself think. Here is the first truth I want to leave with you today. What you perform is not what you build. The energy you spend showing your life to the world is energy not available for building the life worth showing. Most people have this completely backwards. They perform the destination before they have built the road. They post the lifestyle before they have funded it. They celebrate the journey before they have taken a single real step, and the audience applauds and the performance continues, and the actual life waits patiently in the background for the moment you finally turn away from the stage and start building in the quiet. The second truth is this: silence is not absence, it is strategy. When Maya went quiet, her friends assumed something was wrong. They assumed she had nothing to show. They assumed the silence meant struggle, but the silence meant something completely different. It meant that every unit of creative energy she had been pouring into performance was now available for building. And what you build in the silence when nobody is watching is always more real than what you perform in the noise when everyone is. The third truth is this: your financial life cannot grow in the same hands that are too busy performing to tend it. Money requires honest attention. It requires the kind of focused, intentional direction that is simply not possible when your attention is fractured across 100 notifications a day. Maya's savings had not moved in 3 years, not because she lacked the income, but because she lacked the attention. The moment she reclaimed her attention, her financial life began to move. The fourth truth is this: the life you actually want is built in the hours you are not performing the life you think you want. Maya found her real work in the silence. She discovered what she was genuinely good at. She built a business that replaced her income. None of it was visible while it was happening. All of it became visible when it was done. That is how real building works. It happens in the quiet. It reveals itself in the results. And the fifth truth, the one that a Monday morning and a phone placed face down in a drawer gave Maya that changed the next 3 years of her life completely, is the question I want to leave with you today. What would you build if you stopped performing it first? Not what would you post. What would you actually build? Because the silence is not empty. It is full of everything you have been too busy performing to create. Go quiet. Build something real. Let the results make the noise.